And the fifth Swiss, where does this come into it? What's your thought process around evolving into or creating a Swiss watch as well?
So it was about it was just over a year ago. I think I looked at the global market. I'd tried a lot of things, like we'd done awesome collaborations with Corey Wilson, an awesome surf photographer. We'd done awesome collaborations with artists. We'd done furniture designers. We released a range of furniture that you could buy off our website. We'd really tried to push things creatively. And for me, it was kind of like, where do we go as a watch business? Where is this market going? And I had this feeling like it was, this affordable watch market is an interesting one. It's an introductory to watches at a price point. But my questions its longevity, the market's longevity. So
yeah.
That's when I started discussions with my now business partner, who was the ex-managing director of the Swatch Group.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he's at all times, he's always wearing two watches. He's a watch nut.
Wow.
And we connected. We connected over. My dad has a vintage Amiga, and his passion for watches started through his dad's vintage Amiga, okay, that he won in a poker game when he was 7. So we connected over watches. We bonded with kind of where the market's at, and where we, combining our skills of me understanding millennials and understanding how to market to millennials, and his knowledge in watches and his kind of long history in watches, we try to, we looked at things and we go, imagine if we combined our skills and where we could go. So that's how the story started with us. So,
and I can see now what we were talking about before, with the fact that millennials' interests are changing. It's sort of you talking about the fact that it could be a trend as opposed to a category in and of itself.
It's interesting on that point of trend versus a category. I think there's a category, but it's...
Or it was a trend category, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it still will always be a category.
Yeah.
I think now it's definitely a thing that exists, but, you guys really made it exist. And you got to remember, since you did it, there's been a lot of copycat
there's been so
brands.
many. I mean, I could tell you a million stories.
Yeah.
Even my cousin, who worked in the business, went and started a copycat brand.
Oh, my God.
We can go down a whole rabbit hole of those kind of stories. But, there were so many copycats, right? And so many people with bad experiences because they use a cheap manufacturer they find on Alibaba. And it's not hard to buy one of our watches and then send it off and get them to make it, and then sell them to their friends and their family. And then they decide, it's not a good business, I'm going to stop doing it. But their friends and family have had a bad experience with watches at that price point. And, that only has to happen so many times for quite a large, amount of people to have a bad experience at our price point. And I was at an event the other night, and I was talking to an influencer, and he's like, I'm out shooting all the time, and the guys are still wearing all their fifth watches, and they're always saying to me, like, your watches are the best of that category. And I'm like, that's awesome, but like, I don't want to be in that category. I don't. It's kind of been tarnished by a lot that's happened in that space. So it's and I think the way it's changed the industry is it gets people away. Like we're in a day and age where we don't need a watch, right? We've got our mobile phones. There's clocks everywhere. We're good.
Computers,
exactly. We're always connected, and so we don't really need a watch. And maybe that goes into the smartwatch discussion, but we don't need a watch. So a watch needs to mean something, right? Now, when we started, we had a really strong vision for what our watches meant and what we wanted people to feel when they wore our watches. But I feel like that category is it's been tarnished by a lot that's happened in that category, and so people have I feel like it's kind of lost the connection to what watches are about. It's more now, I'm going to wear that watch because it's going to match that outfit, and it's it's a wristband, whereas a watch is more than that, and that's kind of where we look at the market and go, we want to. The other day we did a poll on our Instagram, to our following of 450,000 followers, and so many people had really little knowledge about watches, and we did that to see, what does our consumer know about watches?
Yeah,
and they don't know much. So it's an interesting thing where it's like, wow, we can really educate people. We can really introduce people into the art of watchmaking, the beauty of the industry.
Yeah, I think the way that your brand is going now, so this may come as an interesting question. Yes, the fifth Swiss will probably be in that range that we were talking about earlier, but I wonder if as part of that, the range of the fifth watches actually decreases and becomes more refined over time. And as a brand, you start becoming really, it starts to have an element of Hodinkee to it. You know what I mean? Because that allows people to understand the status behind watches and why you have watches and what's in the movement, and why did Alex select this dial and this moon face and stuff like that. I feel like that is sort of where I can see that's what's in your head, because I can see that with the imagery that you've been using for the fifth Swiss.
Yeah.
So I can sort of get a sense that that's where things are going.
Yeah,
which is a great idea.
Yeah, no, well, thank you. It's like it's. I'm really excited to show people the beauty of the watches, show people the beauty of the industry. That's what excites me. We've worked with a French designer. He designs for most of the big brands, like a lot of them. But he's the guy in the back. Thankfully, my new business partner, he's an old friend of him. Met him through his time in Switzerland, and he's designed our range with us, and so him and I have, wow. Every night for months we just talk. This idea, try this, and we're talking about millimeters of tiny, not even like half a millimeter, 0.1 of a millimeter changes to a design that will affect the feel of that design and how it feels on your wrist, and that's really when we designed this product. And when I was recently in Switzerland to look at the final product, and you put it on, and it was just, again, it's like the spaces when you walk in a nice space, you don't know exactly what it is, but it just feels nice, and all that care, all that CAD work, all that modeling work on changing this millimeter over this millimeter results in a beautiful piece that you kind of look at and you go, wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it's about. It's not about, I need a watch to tell the time. It is a functional time teller, but you look at that, multiple times throughout a day. So it needs to be something beautiful. You want to look at it and you want to go, wow, that's nice. Like that. That's the feeling we want to give people, this beautiful piece, because we've, put hours and hours and hours of design into this, and made something that is previously impossible, because there is nobody doing what we're doing. So it's been, one, it's been costly. Two, it's been, you need the right people and the right connections, and it's a bit of a ballsy move. There's nobody in our category who would be willing to make that jump. It is a ballsy move.
It's a lot of capital.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah. So it's but where I'm, if somebody can get the same feeling that I got when I put on that watch, then I'm like that happy. I'm happy.